Hello people, how you doing? Welcome to the dub. And today I'm gonna give you the dub. This one is a bit of a it's a bit of a touchy one for me because I really looked up to this guy. I looked up to him so much. He was basically the blueprint of what anyone in the music industry wanted to be. Do you know what I'm saying? From making music to producing to then branching into uh, other other aspects such as selling clothes, um, not only selling clothes, selling alcohol, just a businessman basically, all wrapped in one. That's who this guy is. Uh, Sean Combs, P Diddy, Love. He's got many names. He's a character, as you all know. Swag. He's from Harlem, so he's got swag. Harlem guys got swag. Yeah, it's kind of a touchy one for me. I don't know even where to start. As we all know already, he's in jail for sex trafficking, etc. Uh, and a lot of accusations. It's just like so messed up. But I'm gonna kind of break it down, right? So it started with um, Cassie going at him, saying, "Right, pay me, or I'm gonna let people know things about us or what you've done and everything." And he's refused not to pay. However, he ended up paying like what 50 million. He's, so he basically settled the lawsuit, etc. And then after settling the lawsuit, he's still saying, "All right, I basically all this stuff that is in the lawsuit, etc. I settled it because, etc." And then a video came out of you putting your hands on her, etc. But it's just a lot of mess. Do you know what I'm saying? Well, so basically, we don't know what we can trust. We don't know what is being said, if it's true or not, if you actually did it. Do you know what I'm saying? But I am not a person to put a man down because I believe in second chances. I believe in prayer. I believe the Lord can forgive. So wherever he's going through, and wherever Cassie's going through as well, see what I'm saying? I pray for them, and I pray that everyone gets their deliverance some way or the other. That's just how God works, because He works in mysterious ways. But let's go to the topic today. So, trying to summarize what's going on, basically, so he's in jail. They refuse to bail him out. They refused bail on 3 occasions. Even put like his house up, 50 mil. Chase sounds so little, but that's a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? It can change people's lives. They still said no. That we think you're a risk to the society and everything, and this is what you do to people. This is what who you are. You're basically a monster, so you shouldn't be outside, and you're a flight risk. And we think you might just hop on your jet and fly away. But his lawyers and everyone, they've proved that he's not that kind of person. He's not going to do it. But the law still doesn't believe that, and they just kept him in jail. So keeping him in jail, a lot of things just keep rising. There's no way for him to like fight himself. That's what they're trying to do. They don't want him to be able to use his money and power to fight the law, basically. But he's doing his best. However, just little things just keep popping up. And this one popped up for me because it's regarding one of my favorite rappers. Do you know what I'm saying? Biggie, B.I.G. So they're trying to say that Diddy could be connected to Biggie Smalls' murder and his ex-bodyguard. Actually, this guy has been talking for days, like about him, even before all this came out. So I'm saying, if you followed him, his ex bodyguard, he said quite a lot, and he's even written a book. Do you know what I'm saying? It was just like, yo, he's caking, he's doing his thing. Yeah? Hey, I don't blame the guy, man. Follow your hustle, follow your dream. You know, everyone's journey is different, but let's get into this. Shout out to Law and Crime. You need to look into these guys if you want to like find out all the latest stuff about Diddy. They've always got a lot of things on them. So there's a Law and Crime sidebar with Jesse Weber. It's quite good content over there. I watch it all the time. It just comes up, I'm subscribed to them, so they've got like different, not even only Diddy, like different stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? If you are interested, check them out. So let's get into it.
Someone who had essentially been at Sean Combs' side for years now seems to suggest the rapper, business mogul, and now indicted criminal defendant may have had something to do with the killing of Notorious B.I.G.
I really hope he doesn't. I really hope it doesn't. But who knows? All these things that are just coming out about this guy, do you know what I'm saying? Like, and the fact that, I'll tell you, Tupac, his spirit is not resting, It's like rising every year. There's something. If you look, like, do your research on it. If you look on it, every year something keeps rising up about this guy, about Tupac. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, let's keep going.
We're going to break down this claim made in a brand new documentary about Combs, and we're going to discuss it all with renowned criminal defense attorney to the stars, Brian McMonagle. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. One of the greatest unsolved crimes in the last 50 years has been the murder of Notorious B.I.G., Christopher Wallace. Happened back on March 9th, 1997. The rapper was gunned down in a drive-by shooting out in Los Angeles after Vibe magazine's Soul Train Awards party at the Peterson Automotive Museum. And though there have been theories and speculation and rumors, no arrests have ever been made in connection with this killing. But now, an accusation has surfaced that perhaps Sean Diddy Combs, the man we have been focusing upon a lot lately, could have been involved somehow in this shooting. And this insinuation comes from GENEDEAL. Now, GENEDEAL is Combs' former body.
Yeah, that's GENEDEAL. That's the bodyguard. That's the one that's been saying a lot about, the case on Diddy or the past about Diddy, working with Diddy, etc. So yeah, let's get into it. See, he's written a lot of books already. See, my guy's caking, changing his life, transitioning. Jeez.
Bodyguard, who has been quite outspoken about Combs recently, especially after Combs has been accused of sexual assault in multiple lawsuits and currently sits in a Brooklyn detention center awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking, racketeering, and prostitution charges. His trial is currently scheduled for May 5th, 2025. But you see, Mr. Deal, who was reportedly Combs' bodyguard from 1991 to 2005, sat down for an interview in a new documentary called Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy that aired on Peacock. And I want to read you what Deal said, because when he was asked
definitely need to check that out
about Combs and Biggie, he remarks, "So did he directly have something to do with it?" And he bases that off of his perception that Combs was maybe acting a little weird leading up to the 24-year-old's death. He says on the show, "The week which Biggie was murdered, he was just acting real anxious and trying to get big at this party. And what's crazy was Big was telling people he had to be in London, but Puff was telling people he ain't going to London that whole week." So
in my books, that's a little bit too late. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you're coming now to say all that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, when Biggie died, you couldn't like raise your voice and say, "Oh, I think, he might be acting a bit suspicious." And yeah, all of a sudden you want to come and say it now. It's a bit too late. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we've been waiting for answers for like bare time for long, but now you've come and said this. Come on, Gene.
Fast forward to the day of the party, and Deal says, "I'm sitting up at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and I get a phone call. It's about 9 o'clock. And they say, 'Gene, get ready. We go into the Vibe party.' I was like, 'We go into this party? We don't have no security.' But according to Deal, he tried to warn Combs that this probably wasn't a good idea. He says, "Yo, Puff, I got some intel, bruh." He said, "What?" I said, "Yo, man, if we go to this party tonight, one of us going to get killed. Somebody going to die, because now we had East Coast, West Coast beef." He said, "Yo, Gene, I don't want to hear that S," so we all jump in the car. Now,
yeah, but I can understand where both parties are coming from. That's Gene, the bodyguard, trying to keep everyone safe, and trying to keep and Puff just not caring because he's actually on a scene, in the scene at that time, and they're blowing up Bad Boy, everything, do you know what I'm saying? And there's probably a lot of money to be made in California. It's like, oh, Biggie needs to come there. That could be the case. Do you know what I'm saying? That could be the case. Or it could be what Gene's saying at the same time. Do you know what I mean? That this guy's suspicious, or he's acting suspicious. But we can't really we can't, because at the time that happened, all these suspicions should have come out. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it just feels like, oh, everyone's trying to capitalize now and say, oh, how do you know that? Yeah, Puff said all that. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, it's quite a long time ago. How do you remember all that? You drank alcohol, you've done all this stuff, and you used to remember in detail all this information. That's just my opinion, you know, but let's keep going.
This East Coast, West Coast beef was in reference to the infamous rivalry in the hip-hop world that lasted several years in the 90s between West Coast Death Row Records.
Yeah, that's Tupac there spitting at the camera, man. My guy didn't care, bro. You know what I mean? Thug life. Oi.
So we're talking about Suge Knight, Dr. Dre, Tupac Shakur, who, by the way, was tragically killed in 1996 in Las Vegas. Actually, some believe that Biggie was killed as retribution for Tupac's death. And then on the other side, we have the East Coast. We have Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Records, Combs label, with his artist Biggie. And when you think Diddy and Biggie, you're thinking hits like More Money, More Problems, It's All About the Benjamins, Victory. So Deal explains what happens when they all leave the Vibe party. Quote, "I was in a car with Puff, Big was in his own car, and the next thing you know, you hear pow, 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 pow." The FBI has stated, by the way, that Biggie was in the passenger seat of a Chevy Suburban when a Chevy Impala pulled up at a red light. A shooter just opened fire. Deal says after Biggie was shot 4 times, Deal tried to make sure that Biggie didn't go to sleep but kept talking to keep him alive. And according to Deal, they told him they were taking him to the hospital, to which Deal claims Biggie replied, "Just do it." And Deal says in the documentary, "That's the last thing I heard Big say." And they said the hospital was 2 blocks away, and that's the longest 2 blocks I ever seen in my life. Within an hour after arriving there.
Rest in peace, man. B.I.G. Rest in peace.
And Deal explains to Combs what's going on with Biggie. So Puff ran out the hospital door and he grabbed my arm. He said, "Gene, we got to pray. We got to pray. We got to pray." And I knocked his hands off of me. I said, "Pray for what?" And then he basically says that Biggie's dead, bruh. He just was stunned. He just seemed like he had this look in his eye like he couldn't believe it, that he was dead. He couldn't believe it. Now, the documentary makes clear that Combs has always denied involvement in the killings of Biggie and Tupac. And in fact, Diddy's legal counsel issued a statement after the airing of this documentary saying Sean Combs unequivocally denies the baseless allegations being circulated in connection with this documentary.
Is it true or is it not? What can we believe right now? Because this guy hasn't actually told the truth. Do you know what I'm saying? The stuff about Cassie that happened, you know, denied it, and then them videos came out. Do you know what I'm saying? If you just beating the girl, excuse me, you know, I can't, you know, it's just a scene that we didn't want to, you know, look at, basically. So what's there to believe now that, you know, what you're saying here, or what your lawyers are saying, your attorneys? What can we believe? Do you know what I mean? Let's keep going.
So I want to try to make sense of all of this with renowned criminal defense attorney Brian McMonagle of the firm McMonagle, Perry, McHugh, Meshach, and Davis. He has famously represented Bill Cosby, Meek.
That's them big boys, man. Do you know what I mean? You know, you go like keep to keep this sort of guys, or to have them on your side, a retainer of like 1 milli, you know, 6 figures. You know what I'm saying? lawyers, man, don't play. They fight for you. That's what they do. But this kind of lawyers here, 6 figures, man, just to retain them, just a retainer.
Mill. Brian, so good to see you. You're a friend of the show. I'm so happy to see you. Happy New Year. I think you're probably going to be the last person I say Happy New Year to. I think we're at the point where I can't say it anymore. Isn't that a rule?
Today's the last
say
day.
It 2 weeks, right? What is it? You can't say it 2 weeks after?
Yeah, I think we might have we might have exceeded the time limit. But Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So you're my last Happy New Year. So what do you make of these claims?
You know, let me be funny or not funny for a minute. No biggie, no deal. I don't see this. You know, this is a 30-year-old accusation, and it.
Hang on. You see, I've not even got there. But what did I say? I've not watched this. Do you know what I'm saying? What did I say? A 30-year accusation. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how could you come up with all these words, the exact words that he said? Do you know what I'm saying? You know, 30 years. Can I remember what I did 20 years ago? You know, yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a bit shaky at the same time. Obviously, I'm not on Diddy's side, but at the same time, it just feels like people are trying to capitalize a lot from him. And, you know, it's kind of like karma at the same time, too. But let's keep going.
It seems to me that it's getting to a point where Diddy's concerned, where it's dangerously getting to piling on in a way that I think might just help him. As I thought about this last night, once I saw the article in the Post and was referenced on the documentary, it seems to me that there are a lot of people now that are jumping on this bandwagon of making what I would say are baseless allegations against this guy. You know, this one in particular just smells to me. Did this guy say any of this stuff over the past 30 years to anybody?
Please, what did I say? What did I say? Please give me my flowers, man. Give me my flowers. Come on. At the time of the moment this happened, why didn't you say anything, Gene? Do you know what I mean? Why now? You know?
In law enforcement, has there ever been any kind of a suggestion that he was involved by law enforcement? It seemed to me that he was in a close relationship with Biggie, and that if anything, he was on the other side of this East Coast West Coast fight. So, the one thing that I would say about it is just bringing this kind of full circle to this upcoming trial. They're going to be looking for things like this, the defense in this trial. They're going to be looking for accusations that are stretched. They're going to looking for moments that they can disprove things. And make no mistake about it, there'll be a few things like that. And hope that that'll give them the kind of strength and...
Look, they're trying to take this guy down. They're trying to take Diddy down, regardless. Do you know what I'm saying? And they're gonna dig deep. Anything that comes out, they're gonna talk about it. This Biggie stuff, this Tupac stuff, they're gonna talk about it. Do you know what I'm saying? Anything to bring this guy down is just what they're trying to do now. They don't want him. You know, imagine not allowing you come out on bail. You know, 3 times, putting up your houses. You know, putting up 50 mil, telling them I've got a house in New York that will employ the best security and etc. But they still denied it. They say, no, yo, we are on to you. We want you, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? So any allegations that come out, you know, they're just trying to pin it on him, basically.
Ability to diffuse perhaps as many of these allegations as they can where this indictment's concerned.
Do you, you think the name Notorious B.I.G. is going to come up at his criminal trial at all? I don't think so.
I don't think this. I don't think this is going to have anything to do with his criminal trial.
Right.
But it's got everything to do with jury selection. It's
right.
got and it's got everything to do with just where he stands in the eyes of the public, and perhaps.
Yo, man, the jury selection, you know what? No jury selection, that was a Biggie fan, you know what I'm saying? That liked one of the Biggie's, maybe the person like hypnotized and like, yo, man, you ruined my best song ever, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're guilty.
His jury as he starts a trial.
Because in other words, what you're saying is this documentary, these words, that could taint a future jury.
There's no question about it. I mean, people watch these shows. I mean, some of these shows are great, obviously, and people watch them. And now they come into this trial, not only with the allegations that are made against him in the indictment, but the idea that he might have been a party to a murder. And so it's dangerous for the defense just in terms of jury selection. And this is going to be something that they're going to have to use in jury selection to see if anybody's watched these documentaries, listen to them. And these will be jurors they're going to have to strike, as they try to prepare for this trial.
Can I give you a little bit more background on this to why I think this is an interesting that's coming out here? Because, First of all, you mentioned what did GENEDEAL say in the past? Well, GENEDEAL apparently said back in 2003 on the Art of Dialogue show, wasn't no drive-by. The car was standing there at the corner. The stories they tell is not truthful. He previously told Vlad TV, and apparently this is backed up by an FBI investigation file that was obtained by The Sun back in 2018, and that it's possible Combs was the intended target. That's radically different than what we're saying now.
Well, that's kind of deep. If obviously P. Diddy was the intended target, and then Biggie had to take the bullets. That is absolutely deep. But at the same time, if it's not your time, it's not your time. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's journey is different.
Sean Combs was the intended target that night.
Yeah, it's night and day. I mean, and that's really my point. I mean, you're reinventing history at some point. Before you know it, we're going to get. I think that if he was old enough, they might try and put him on the grassy knoll, Jess. I just think at some point in time, someone is going to cry on one of these things, and this might be the time. I mean, here's a situation where he goes from a potential target in a drive-by shooting to now a culprit in the murder. It's troublesome if I'm putting myself in the shoes of his lawyer, because I am worried now that all of this is just this avalanche of publicity, all negative, nothing positive, that you got to deal with.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Everything online about this guy is so negative. There's not one person that's come out and said, no, I don't believe this guy did it. He's a father figure. He takes care of his kids, takes care of his family. Not even anyone in his family has done that. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, spoken out. Like the women he's been with, they've not, no one's come out to speak on his behalf. Like, I don't believe he did all that. Do you know what I'm saying? Or maybe he was going through some bad stage in his life, but since then he's gone to therapy and he's changing. He changed his name to Love, etc. Do you know what I'm saying? Nobody, no one at all. So it just tells you the kind of person Diddy might be.
In addition to the facts of your case.
Well, I would counter that by saying this. Look, there's no evidence to suggest that Sean Combs was involved in the death of Biggie. And I would, but, and I'm going to read something in a minute from Rolling Stone article. The argument would be, if at any point in time in Sean Combs' life, if he was really going to be investigated for what he did in the past, right now, after being hit with so many lawsuits, after being hit with criminal charges, after having his bail denied, he's locked up, you're seeing more and more people come out, this would be the time that people would come forward with information about what they know of him in the past. And we know there's no statute of limitations on murder. So the reason people might be looking at this and saying, well, if something, we're going to get answers about Biggie and maybe Combs' role, whatever that might be, alleged role, now would be the time. The reason I say that, let's just keep that in mind, because there was an article that came out by Rolling Stone last year, and it was amid all the drama surrounding Combs. This was before his arrest. And it details how Combs liked Tupac Shakur. He admired his talent. But according to a source who was close to Biggie and other bad boy artists, Tupac didn't respect Sean Combs, that both he and Biggie saw Combs as a, quote, corny executive. And when this bond developed between the two artists, former bad boy president Kirk Burroughs says Combs became jealous. And reportedly, Biggie was planning to leave bad boy before he died. Now, I know a lot of this is speculation, people trying to read through the lines and trying to see if something else.
Yeah, it's part of the speculation. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a lot involved in it. What can we believe? We want answers, because this is leading to another direction, like him being jealous of, you know, the fact that, right, I'm not really street like these guys. I'm more of an executive. And you know how street guys will look at someone that's suited up and everything. They'll be there like, how this guy, bro. You know what I mean? Go make some money, man. Go work in the office. You know what I'm saying? We do the street stuff, man. We know how we talk our street slang. You know what I'm saying? So that's how probably Biggie and Tupac we're rocking it, and he could have been jealous too. Who knows? It's just a speculation, like Weber's saying. You know what I mean?
Is there, but again, you know, again, going back to the idea of if we were to have answers about Combs' alleged involvement in what happened.
Yeah, that was Biggie's funeral and everything. Look at that, man. What's he called? The Locks did like you know, that we'll always love Big Papa. You know, yeah, the video. Yeah, go watch that, man. You know what I'm saying? Jeez, yo, man. Rest in peace, Biggie, man.
Happened to Biggie. I guess people are saying now would be the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly one way of looking at it. The way that I would look at it would be, now would be the time where people would be piling on with false accusations. And I'm really not trying to make the case for Combs. I don't represent him. But I think there's always a danger in stale accusations, particularly in a case like this where it's easy to pile on and easy to say anything you want about the guy. And because everybody's listening for the negative and no one's listening for the positive. So I hear you.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone's listening to the negative. And when he tried to do positive, like what he did on Instagram, where he was talking to his kids and, you know, they were celebrating him, his birthday, his little daughter, etc. You know, they turned that to a negative thing as well. So they're really trying to get this guy. So there's something there. Do you know what I'm saying? There's something that we probably don't know, and they're trying to get this guy on. And he probably, you know, let's just keep going, man. It's just too much. You know what I'm saying? It's such a mess right now, and because it's such a mess, it's easy for them to just pick point like, yo, he did it. Anything that happens, he did it. Do you know what I'm saying?
I just think that, you know, this is kind of part and parcel with what we've been seeing over the past several months in this case, which is just this avalanche of bad publicity, some legitimate, perhaps, and some completely incredible. And I'd have to put this one on that incredible side.
Yeah, by the way, I mean, there are those who say it's the complete opposite. So, for example, hired LAPD.
Yeah, this one would be incredible if he actually said, he actually did it. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, it would be absolutely incredible, because the whole planning of everything, having this guy killed and everything. But, you know, speculations.
Detective Greg Kading alleged that Biggie was actually killed by a gang member and associate of Death Row Records exec Suge Knight. This was, again, revenge for the death of Tupac, who was killed 6 months earlier. Author Randall Sullivan also suggested that Knight was responsible, claimed that he worked with a bent LAPD officer to carry out the killing, although to be clear about that one, the main source for Sullivan's story apparently had mental health issues and memory issues. But, you know, there's two competing narratives about what might have happened. You mentioned something interesting about jury selection. Do they ask these potential jurors, and by the way, my understanding is based on the current schedule, the jury questionnaire forms are due April 11th. What do those forms look like? What are they asked on those jury questionnaire forms to prospective jurors? And once prospective jurors are brought in for a more thorough voir dire process, are they asked everything they know about Sean Combs? Are they asked maybe about East Coast, West Coast, Tupac, Biggie? Are they asked those questions?
Well, the first thing that'll happen is both sides will submit them, and a judge will make a decision as to what the real questionnaire is gonna look like. From the defense side,
I think, you know, from the prosecutor side, questions are gonna come. They're gonna arise. You watch. They are gonna come. Yeah, the whole, what's he called, the case and everything, the court case itself. The main one starts in May, I think. Yeah, the prosecutors, they are gonna say they're gonna if things is going Diddy's way, they will bring this up. It's just what it is. That's how lawyers work. Do you know what I mean? Nobody wants to lose, especially in court.
The more the better. The more areas you can probe in a questionnaire, the better. And so you'll see every question under the sun, particularly as it relates to publications, newspaper articles, documentaries, and the like. Asking jurors perhaps to list every one they've seen, asking jurors if they've seen this one or that one. Now, whether that submission ever gets to a jury remains to be seen, because at the end of the day, the judge is going to take the government's submission and any objections the government has to what the defense is proposing. And then ultimately, they'll bring everybody in. They'll bring a panel of 100, or perhaps in this case, a couple hundred, and they'll have them fill out the questionnaires, whatever they look like. And then each side will get time to review those questionnaires, perhaps a day or so, to look at them. And then jury selection will begin. And a lot of times what they'll do in these high-profile cases, it's been my experience anyway, is they'll have the government and the defense get together and see if they can agree, after looking at the questionnaires, that there ought to be a pot that they just put what I'll say are going to be excluded jurors in. So they don't even have to bother with them during individual voir dire when they get into the courtroom. But it's really going to be up to this judge how he wants to do it or how she wants to do it. I think we have a male judge still assigned to this case.
Yep.
Yeah. And, my guess is there'll be a very, very lengthy questionnaire that ultimately gets to these jurors. And if I'm the defense counsel in this case, and they've got preeminent counsel in this case, they're going to be asking everything under the sun.
There were allegations in this indictment, and also specified in a lot of the lawsuits, that Sean Combs is essentially a gangster, right? That he's operating a criminal enterprise, that it involves guns, and there are these beefs that he has with other people. So I'm curious to see.
Yeah, but he's moving like a mafioso, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, he don't play about. Like, but in front of the camera, he's like this mogul, man. Do you know what I'm saying? He done it nice. He done it nice. Nobody would believe that Diddy would, put hands on a woman, etc. But it just baffles me, man. It kind of hurts me at the same time, because it crushed a lot of people's beliefs about him, and people that hung with him now, or they're all separating from him. But if he was innocent, they wouldn't be separating from him, because they know that, oh yeah, this guy is a G, like G. So no one's come out. Where's all these people, all these DJ Khaled, all these guys that he used to go on holiday with? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on, bro? Like, people like talk for him, say something. Yeah, I know for Fat Joe bigged him up, and what's he called? His new album. Said something about love. He said it. He's like, yo, I know, etc. What they're trying to get you, trying to put a black man down, that kind of thing. The way he dropped it in the verse, etc. He didn't really say his name, but he said love. So if you know, you know. So yeah, go listen to that album too. Fat Joe cooked on the album,
If anything like Suge Knight or Tupac or Biggie comes into the course of the trial. What I do have a question, and I think it's important for you to clear it up here. There are those who say, well, wait a minute. Guys, listen, they just raided his homes last year. They got a collection of all this evidence. Who knows what they found? How does it work?
That raid was different, man. You know what I'm saying? For someone like Diddy, like who would have thought? Like, he's running a criminal enterprise. They raided this guy like he was, Pablo or something. That's how, straight up. Like, guns and, all that. Like, we got in here, and if anything happens, we're ready to pow. That's what you call a raid.
If they found something, investigators found something during their search, so they're searching for evidence of sex trafficking and racketeering, and during the course of their search, they find something else. A
apparently the evidence or the free cops that they found, there is nothing that's implicating him. Saying that, oh, he spilled drink in spilled like whatever in someone's drink, and everyone looked like they were happy, they were buzzing, they were enjoying themselves. Even victim one, which obviously is Cassie and everything, it wasn't like it was, oh yeah, I'm forcing you to do this. Everyone looked lit. Like that's what they're saying. Everyone looked lit, everyone looked fine. So it might go well for Diddy on that one. Do you know what I'm saying? That there was no form of what the internet is actually saying. That multiple things about him spilling drinks, putting drugs in people's drinks, and then they go whatever, and he does his thing. Man, it's too much, man. It's just too much.
Would we have known about it by now, right? If they found evidence that maybe really did link him to a murder, wouldn't we know about that right now? Maybe not. You tell me. How does it work with if they find something during the course of the search that maybe they didn't intend to find?
Well, it happens quite often, and it'll result, if the evidence is substantial enough and corroborated enough, to perhaps a separate indictment. I would think you'd know about it here because there's been a huge exchange of discovery, I'm sure, already and will continue. And unless there is some effort made by the government to seal certain evidence because it's not part of this indictment.
Yeah, who's waiting for them free girls like to get leaked, man? You know what I'm saying? Yo, better man waiting. Like, yo, the internet is gonna be full of them soon. I bet. I bet someone inside the FBI, whatever, is taking his recording, everything. He's just ready to give it to TMZ or someone. You know what I mean? For that right price. And he was like, yo, look at these tapes. Guess who's in here? Jeez. So I don't think I want to see them tapes. Let's keep going.
And it wouldn't be part of any defense strategy, but it might be the subject of a new grand jury that's going on somewhere. You might not see it. And I'm not saying that happened here, but every now and then they'll go looking for, thefts and all kinds of other crimes, and they'll find something that leads to something much larger. And perhaps it could even be a homicide. I wouldn't expect that here, but
right.
You never know.
You never know. And let me just end on this point. Again, no evidence to connect Sean Combs to the death of Biggie. And I will tell you, I mean, in my perspective, I've always just seen them as incredibly close. I mean, I remember as a kid when Combs released I'll Be Missing You, that tribute to Biggie after Biggie's death. And by the way, he spoke at his funeral service. And by the way, just talking about the impact that Christopher Wallace, Biggie, left. So his body was driven in a hearse through Brooklyn, and several thousand people, they showed up to mourn and pay their respects.
Remember?
That's how much of an influence he had. You remember that?
Yeah, that's in them trendsetters. Biggie was one of them. Do you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Look. Hey, let me give Biggie a chance. Look at that. Look at the wall, man. Do you know what I mean? Look at the wall. That's him counting money. Jeez. Kicking the door, waving the 4-4. All I ever Papa don't hurt me no more. That was a diss for Nas, but yeah. I'll get to that one day. But yeah, jeez. It
was reported by the New York Times that his service was attended by more than 350 people, included Flavor Flav, Mary J. Blige, Queen Latifah, Mayor David Dinkins. Of course, Combs spoke. So, I understand people still want answers to this because he's still...
Yeah, we want answers. I want answers. I don't know if anyone wants answers. Please leave some comments for me. You know what I mean? If you want answers, if you think Diddy did it, I don't think he did. Do you know what I mean? I just think they got into something that caused that to happen. That's what I think.
Left such an impactful legacy, and his death at 24 years old is.
But who knows? I'm just saying, man. Who knows? Because all these guys are just muffling up things. No one wants to say the truth. The so-called street code, no snitching. People right now just saying whatever they like so that they can capitalize, make money. Well, I don't blame them. Do you know what I mean? They've worked with the guy and they know how he rolls. So I'm saying, so they've taken a bit of that from him, and like, you know what, we don't care to. We're gonna make money as well.
Just such a tragedy.
No question about it. And you put it that way, and as I think about it, imagine if you're you're Sean and you're sitting there in a jail cell facing these enormous allegations against you, and you pick up.
Yeah, I don't even want to think about how this guy's living, man. Do you know what I mean? Someone that used to live the lifestyle before the expensive lifestyle, the caviars and chefs in your house. They cook anything that you want to eat, make you look good. Their haircuts every day. Now I'm hearing that he's so skinny, hairs are gray. They're not really showing pictures. They're just like take like a drawing of him. We don't even know if the guy is alive. Hopefully he is. I know he is. Do you know what I'm saying? He's strong. He's meditating a lot, as I hear. He don't really eat that much and everything because he's a bit like shook of what they're gonna put in his food, or they might poison him. He really wants to fight this case. He wants to prove his innocence. Do you know what I mean?
Where you get the opportunity to hear that now somebody somewhere is suggesting you had something to do with a close friend's death. Got to be tough stuff, I got to tell you, for a guy who certainly would seem to me to be innocent of that accusation.
Yep. We will continue to monitor it and see what happens, but it made its way in a big documentary. And by the way, I should tell you, just real quick about the documentary and whether any of the producers have any liability here. Let me ask you about this. Do the producers of this documentary put themselves in any hot water? Because Ari Mark, who is the executive producer of the doc, told the New York Post, we were really careful about making sure that we weren't saying necessarily that these things happened or that these things are necessarily true. But do the documentary, the words of GENEDEAL, any trouble there?
Well, I wouldn't say for the producers. They're only providing what is being said. But if they take it the next step, they got to walk a careful line there, because the next thing they could be hit with is a defamation action. And I'm guessing that their in-house counsel made sure they walked that line and put as many caveats as they could into it, not suggesting that this was an allegation against Combs. But better be careful, particularly when you're dealing with something like this.
Yep. Brian McMonigal of the firm, McMonigal, Perry, McHugh, Meshack, Davis, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it, sir. Good seeing you.
Happy New Year.
I'm going to stop it right there. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. These are guys that I look up to when it comes to giving you the dub. That's Jesse Weber, Law and Crime. He has the dub. Yeah, but you've come to the dub for me to do a little summary my own way. Do you know what I mean? T. So let me know what you think about that. The questions we're going to ask, first of all, is GENEDEAL. Is he trying to capitalize off this? Why didn't he say this 30 years ago, a decade ago? He should have said it at the time he felt that PD was suspicious, because obviously he was working as a bodyguard and he kept his mouth shut. We're still getting paid. Do you know what I'm saying? But now that money don't come anymore. Now you want to talk about it. You want to capitalize, right? Doesn't mean that Diddy's innocent, but that's the question that we're asking. All these accusations, they're all muffled up and everything. We don't really know the truth. We want answers. I don't want to believe that he did that to Biggie, but who knows? That is the question that we're asking. So what do you guys think about this? I am going to be covering this quite a lot now. I've given you like a summary of him before he went into jail, and then right now he's going through this case in May, and he's trying to fight to be free. Do you think he's going to be free? What if he's free? What about all these people that's talked all this stuff about him, and then they don't find him guilty? That's just going to be mental, isn't it? See what I'm saying? But I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching the dub. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm on to the next one. Reaction videos talking about this Diddy stuff. I'm going to talk about Jay-Z too. Just have to dig deep and obviously get to the right point. See what I'm saying? Or get to the point, basically. So I thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. And leave comments, man. Guys, say something. I don't care. Negative, positive, do you know what I mean? It improves me. Do you know what I mean? And it improves my channel too. Love. Have a good one. Bye.